Blas de Lezo read the intelligence reports and did not flinch. One eye, one arm, one leg. The broken Spanish admiral looked out at his crumbling fortress and counted his soldiers, 3,000 men. Outside the harbor, the horizon had disappeared behind sails. 186 British warships, 27,000 soldiers and sailors, the largest invasion fleet ever assembled in the history of naval warfare. Their commander, Admiral Edward Vernon, had already written home to announce his victory. He had not fired a single shot. Britain had already minted the victory medals. Vernon's face stamped in silver, Lezo kneeling in defeat on the reverse. But Blas de Lezo was not kneeling, and what happened next would humiliate an empire for 300 years. To understand what was at stake in the spring of 1741, you must understand what Cartagena de Indias meant to the Spanish Empire. For 2 centuries, this Colombian port city had been the beating heart of Spanish wealth in the Americas, the single most important transit point for gold, silver, and emeralds flowing from New World mines back to Madrid. Whoever held Cartagena controlled the economic lifeblood of an empire. The Spanish had spent 200 years turning Cartagena into the most fortified city in the Western Hemisphere. Multiple concentric defensive rings, Fort San Luis guarding the outer bay, Castillo San Felipe de Barajas dominating the hills above. The geography itself was a weapon. Shallow reefs, narrow channels, killing grounds engineered by nature and empire together. Into this fortress posting in 1737 arrived the man who would define it. Blas de Lezo y Olavarrieta had spent 40 years fighting for Spain across 4 oceans. He had lost his left leg at Malaga at 15, his left eye at Toulon at 20, his right arm at Barcelona at 25. He wore his wounds like a uniform and asked for no sympathy. Britain declared war on Spain in 1739, the so-called War of Jenkins' Ear, ostensibly over Spanish interference with British merchants. But the real prize was always Cartagena. Take the city and you strangle Spanish America. Prime Minister Walpole authorized the largest amphibious assault the British Empire had ever attempted. Nothing would be spared. Admiral Edward Vernon had already proven himself. In 1739, with only 6 ships, he had captured the Spanish port of Portobello in a single day. Parliament gave him a standing ovation. Vernon believed Cartagena would be another Portobello. He assembled his armada with the confidence of a man who had never considered losing. The British fleet arrived in March 1741. When Blas de Lezo climbed his battlements and looked out at the harbor entrance, the sight was unlike anything in living memory. Ships stretching to every horizon. The entire venture cost more than the annual revenue of the Spanish crown. Vernon fully expected the Spanish garrison to simply surrender at the sight of such overwhelming force. Blas de Lezo had fewer than 3,000 soldiers. He had no naval reinforcements coming. He had aging cannons, dwindling powder, and a fortress with sections in disrepair. He also had something Vernon completely lacked. He had looked at the terrain, walked every inch of the ground, and understood exactly how this battle would be fought. Vernon's first move was Fort San Luis, commanding the outer Boca Chica channel. British warships opened a sustained bombardment on March 13th. After 4 days of relentless cannon fire, the fort's Spanish garrison, massively outnumbered, was ordered to withdraw and destroy the fort rather than let it fall intact. Vernon believed the outer defenses had broken. He sent victory dispatches to London immediately. But the Boca Chica channel was not the fortress. It was the entrance hall. The withdrawal had been deliberate. Every Spanish soldier who evacuated Fort San Luis arrived inside the inner defensive ring, strengthening the walls that actually mattered. Vernon had not broken anything. He had been invited deeper into a killing ground designed centuries earlier for exactly this purpose. Vernon now faced the real obstacle. Fort San Felipe de Barajas, perched on a hill above the city proper, and the inner harbor defenses. To reach them, British troops had to wade through mangrove swamps, cross open terrain under cannon fire, and assault stone walls on high ground. Every tactical advantage belonged to the defenders. April brought catastrophe for the British. Dysentery, malaria, and yellow fever swept through the fleet. Thousands of men, packed into ships in tropical heat, drinking contaminated water, began dying without a Spanish cannon being fired. Vernon argued with his ground commander, General Wentworth, over tactics. The operation was fracturing from the inside. Meanwhile, Lezo waited, conserved ammunition, and let the climate fight for him. Lezo had ordered several of his own ships sunk to block the harbor channel, denying Vernon the ability to bring his largest warships into the inner bay. When British landing parties attempted a night assault on April 19th, they discovered the scaling ladders were too short. They had measured the wrong walls. They stood at the base of Fort San Felipe in the dark, exposed, with nothing to climb. The assault became a massacre. British soldiers milling in confusion below walls they could not scale, lit up by Spanish cannon fire and musket volleys from above. Officers fell, units lost cohesion, retreat orders came too late for hundreds of men. The most powerful military force Britain had ever assembled was being destroyed not by an equal army, but by stone walls, terrain, and one man's refusal to panic. By late April, Vernon's campaign was finished. Disease had killed far more men than Spanish guns. The night assault on Fort San Felipe had shattered British ground forces. Wentworth and Vernon were barely speaking. Every plan had failed. The question was no longer whether Cartagena would fall. It was how many more men Britain would lose before admitting the obvious. On May 20th, 1741, the British fleet abandoned Cartagena. Of the 27,000 men who had arrived in March, approximately 18,000 were dead, the majority from disease, thousands more from combat. Vernon's Armada, the largest fleet the British Empire had ever assembled, had been repulsed by 3,000 soldiers and a half-blind, one-armed admiral who never once considered surrender. Blas de Lezo wrote to the King of Spain after the British departure. The letter was not triumphant. It was exhausted. He noted the state of his remaining forces, the damage to the fortifications, the supplies consumed. He was a professional soldier making a professional report. He had done his job. He had held the city. Everything else was detail. The victory cost Lezo everything he had left. The siege had exhausted his already broken body. He died in Cartagena on September 7, 1741, just months after the British withdrawal. He was 52 years old. He never received proper recognition from the Spanish crown during his lifetime. For centuries, his name remained relatively obscure outside of Colombia. In London, the scale of the disaster was carefully managed. Vernon's premature victory dispatches had already triggered celebrations across Britain. Commemorative medals had been struck showing Vernon triumphant, Lezo kneeling in submission. The medals could not be recalled. They remained in circulation for years, physical evidence of one of the most spectacular miscalculations in British imperial history. Those medals are still collected today. They are a historian's perfect artifact, physical hubris, the moment an empire was so certain of victory that it commemorated a battle that had not yet been fought. Admiral Vernon never commanded a significant fleet again. His reputation never fully recovered. The largest armada Britain had ever sent to sea had achieved absolutely nothing. Cartagena de Indias stood, the city that silver built, the fortress that 2 centuries of Spanish engineering had made into the most defensible position in the Americas, had held against the worst Britain could bring. The Spanish Empire in the Americas would last another 80 years. Cartagena's resistance had bought time, and in empires, time is everything. The fortress walls of Cartagena still stand. Blas de Lezo, half-blind, one-armed, outnumbered 9-1, held them with 3,000 men against the greatest fleet of his age. History remembers the empires. It should remember the broken admiral who refused to let one fall. Total word count, approximately 1,580 words. Segments, 1 to 3 word count, 40 plus 40 plus 40, or 120 words.